We are not in the habit here of quoting the words of a mass murderer, hoping to get attention for his vile cause through that murder. But it is almost impossible to look at his document, his so-called manifesto, and not see views that are essentially at the core of the current Trumpist moment. A belief about where each party stands on the question of immigration. Here's the shooting suspects read on things, quote, so the Democrats are nearly unanimous with their support of immigration while the Republicans are divided over it. At least with the Republicans, the process of mass immigration and citizenship can be greatly reduced. Joining me now is Julian Castro, 2020 presidential candidate, former mayor of San Antonio, Texas. What do you see as the stakes and the battle lines, the fundamental one here, in this moment, in the wake of what's happened, in the wake of the president's rhetoric about immigration in this country? What is the simple, clear choice, to your mind, that Americans have to make?
A fork in the road. We're going to go down the path of either improving as a country and being a country that welcomes immigrants and people that folks see as different from themselves, that continuous improvement that this country has been a part of since its founding, or we're going to go backward to a country that is fractured, where somebody who's not like you is seen as the other, especially recent immigrants. That's the choice that we need to make in the United States. And as long as Donald Trump is president, this is not going to stop. So with regard to immigrants, or really, whether we're talking about along immigration lines, faith lines, race, ethnicity, it is his political strategy to divide us as Americans. But the good news is that we get to choose whether or not we're going to go down this path. And I think, and I think you asked this question earlier, Chris, that I have confidence that the hatred in the heart of that shooter by no means reflects the vast, vast majority of the people out there. About a year ago on Father's Day, I went down to McAllen, Texas, to join activists who were protesting the family separation policy at the Ursula Processing Center, where they actually separate families. And the families, or the activists that were there, were of every background and different walks of life or in different parts of the country. We actually have values of compassion, understanding, respect for one another that I believe are much stronger, no matter what the color of one's skin is or their background, than the division that this president is trying to fan the flames of.
I'd like you to respond to a critique I've heard of you specifically in the Democratic Party recently in the wake of the debates, because it relates to this idea of where is the majority of Americans? Where can a kind of Democratic majority be marshaled for something that doesn't look as ugly as this? And people have criticized you and for Democrats arguing over decriminalizing unauthorized entry, which is currently a misdemeanor, a federal misdemeanor, and you propose to be a civil infraction. Other questions about immigration policy. And they say that you're bringing the party outside of the mainstream, away from that majority, and going to do damage to it. And I'm curious what your response is to that.
That I disagree completely. That the fact is, what I've proposed, basically treating these things as a civil matter, is the way that that was done from 1929 until about 2004. This is the way that it was done under Reagan, under George H.W. Bush, under Bill Clinton. So this is not anything that we haven't done before. We can still have consequences for people who cross over the border. It would still be illegal to cross over the border. There just would not be this misdemeanor attached to it. That misdemeanor is what this President Trump has weaponized to incarcerate migrant parents and separate them from their little children. And I've said that I'm going to guarantee that that does not happen again in a future administration.
The president today seemed to indicate, and I don't think anyone should take this super seriously, it seemed quite tossed off, that there would be some deal, maybe we'll do immigration reform and something on guns and we'll roll it up together. And I guess there's a fundamental question. Is it possible to do an immigration deal with this president, with Stephen Miller working in the White House? Is that even a possibility to be considered?
Well, look, I think that anybody who wants to actually make progress on an issue, you always have to keep an open mind, even sometimes if that seems like, if that seems impossible or ridiculous or it'll never happen. Look, if we're really working for the benefit of people out there, show me what you're proposing. Now, Do I believe that that's going to happen given the bigotry of this president and the people that work for him like Stephen Miller? No. But, have stranger things happened in history? Sure. What we need to do, though, in the meantime, is as people here in the United States, we need to continue to push politicians to try and work together to fix our broken immigration system, whether they're Democrat or Republican, and to do it with solutions that make sense for this country and for the people who are fleeing desperate circumstances, who are seeking a better life like generations did before them. I believe that ultimately in 2021, when we have a new administration and we have a Democratic Congress and a Democratic Senate, that we can get immigration reform done.
All right, Julian Castro, 2020 presidential candidate. I really appreciate you taking a little time out tonight. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.